What if I told you that the moment you die, you're immediately welcomed by a cosmic family that has been waiting for you across lifetimes? A family of 42 enlightened beings who know you better than you know yourself and who hold the key to your ultimate liberation. Deep in the Tibetan Book of the Dead lies one of the most beautiful and profound teachings ever recorded, the appearance of the 42 peaceful Buddhas in the afterlife. But this isn't just mystical poetry. This is a precise map of consciousness that reveals the enlightened structure of your own mind. Here's what the ancient masters discovered. These 42 beings aren't random spiritual entities. They're organized into 5 Buddha families, each representing a different aspect of enlightened awareness that exists within every human consciousness. The Buddha family represents pure awareness itself, that clear, unchanging consciousness that witnesses all experience. The Vajra family embodies mirror-like wisdom, the ability to see reality exactly as it is, without distortion. The Ratna family manifests equanimity, the wisdom that sees the equality of all phenomena. The Padma family radiates discriminating awareness, the wisdom that perceives the unique nature of each moment. And the Karma family expresses all-accomplishing wisdom, the spontaneous activity of enlightened compassion. But here's what's absolutely mind-blowing. When you encounter these Buddha families in the afterlife, you're not meeting external deity. The Bardo Thodol makes this crystal clear. The peaceful visions possess a serene presence and offer a sense of peace. However, for the unprepared mind, these visions may be overwhelming or incomprehensible, leading the soul to retreat and doubt the reality of this experience. Think about that. You're being offered the chance to merge with the most enlightened aspects of your own consciousness, but most souls are so unprepared that they experience this divine reunion as overwhelming terror. And here's the crucial part. Each Buddha family appears on specific days after death, offering multiple opportunities for recognition and liberation. But if you miss these chances, if you can't see these magnificent beings as reflections of your own enlightened nature, you're pulled deeper into the Bardos, where the journey becomes increasingly challenging. But what exactly happens when you first encounter these peaceful deities? What do they look like? How do they appear? And most importantly, how can you prepare to recognize them as yourself? Imagine this. You've just passed through the clear light of death, and consciousness is beginning to stabilize in the Bardo realm. Suddenly, from the center of your awareness, a brilliant blue light begins to emerge, growing brighter and more radiant until it fills your entire field of vision. This is the first day in the Bardo of Dharmata, and you're about to meet the first of the peaceful deities. But this isn't just any encounter. This is your first opportunity to achieve liberation through recognition. From the heart of this dazzling blue radiance emerges Vairocana Buddha, the central figure of the Buddha family. Picture a being of such serene majesty that every cell of your consciousness recognizes something familiar, something that feels like coming home. Vairocana appears with a body of pure white light, seated on a lion throne, holding the 8-spoked wheel of Dharma. His consort, Akshobhya, sits beside him in perfect union, representing the inseparable nature of wisdom and compassion. They're surrounded by 2 male bodhisattvas, Kshitigarbha and Maitreya, and 2 female bodhisattvas, Lasya and Pushpa. But here's what the ancient texts reveal. Vairocana isn't just a deity you're observing. He represents the mirror-like wisdom of your own consciousness, that pure awareness that can reflect all experience without being stained by it. The Bardo Thodol instructs, O child of a noble family, when this blue light of the Dharmadhatu wisdom shines upon you, do not be afraid of it. Do not be terrified. Do not flee from it. Recognize it as your own awareness. This is the moment of truth. If you can recognize this brilliant blue light as your own enlightened nature, if you can merge with Vairocana without fear, you achieve instant liberation. The cycle of rebirth ends. You become one with the Dharmakaya, the truth body of all Buddhas. But here's what happens to most souls. The intensity is overwhelming. The blue light seems too bright, too foreign. Instead of recognizing it as their own pure awareness, they see it as something external, something to be feared. So they retreat, they pull back, and they miss this first golden opportunity. And when they retreat from the brilliant blue light of wisdom, they're drawn instead to a softer, dimmer white light, the light of the Deva realm, the realm of gods. This path leads not to liberation, but to rebirth in a heavenly realm where, despite the bliss, the soul remains trapped in samsara. Think about this in your own life. How many times have you been offered an opportunity for growth, for transformation, for stepping into your highest potential, only to retreat because it felt too intense, too unfamiliar, too challenging. But the cosmic compassion doesn't end with the first day. If you miss the opportunity with Vairocana, the universe offers you another chance. On the second day, a different Buddha family appears, offering a new pathway to liberation. What if I told you that on the second day after death, you encounter a Buddha whose very presence shows you reality exactly as it is, without filters, without distortion, without the stories your mind usually tells itself? This is Akshobhya Buddha of the Vajra family, and his appearance marks your second chance for liberation. But this encounter is different from the first. Where Vairocana offered the wisdom of pure awareness, Akshobhya offers something equally profound, mirror-like wisdom. From the eastern direction, a brilliant white light begins to shine, so clear and pristine that it seems to cut through every illusion you've ever held. This isn't the gentle radiance of earthly light. This is the light of absolute clarity, the illumination that reveals the true nature of all phenomena. Emerging from this radiance is Akshobhya, his body a luminous blue-black, seated on an elephant throne that represents the unshakable stability of enlightened mind. In his hand, he holds the Vajra, the diamond thunderbolt that symbolizes the indestructible nature of awakened consciousness. Beside him sits his consort Buddhalochana, the Buddha eye, who sees the Buddha nature in all beings. They're accompanied by the bodhisattvas Vajrapani and Manjushri, representing power and wisdom, and the female bodhisattvas Mala and Dupa, embodying the offerings of the awakened heart. But here's what makes Akshobhya's wisdom so transformative. Mirror, like wisdom, doesn't judge, doesn't interpret, doesn't add stories to what it sees. It simply reflects reality exactly as it is. When you look into a perfect mirror, it shows you your face without commentary, without judgment, without trying to make you prettier or uglier than you are. Think about the moments in your life when you've seen situations with perfect clarity, when all the drama fell away and you could see exactly what was happening without emotional distortion. That's a glimpse of Akshobhya's mirror-like wisdom. The text instructs, "O child of noble family, this white light of mirror, like wisdom, is your own consciousness appearing as light. Merge with it without fear, without hesitation. Recognize it as the clear, unobstructed nature of your own mind." But again, most souls find this clarity too intense. The white light seems harsh, too revealing. They prefer the softer, dimmer blue light that leads to the hell realms, not because they want suffering, but because the familiar darkness feels safer than the brilliant exposure of truth. Do you see the pattern emerging? Each Buddha family offers a different aspect of enlightened consciousness, but the challenge is always the same. Can you recognize these magnificent qualities as your own true nature, or do you see them as foreign, external, something to be feared? But the cosmic dance of liberation continues. On the third day, you encounter perhaps the most beautiful wisdom of all, the wisdom that sees the inherent equality and preciousness of all existence. Imagine encountering a being whose very presence makes you feel that everything in existence, every person, every experience, every moment of joy and sorrow is equally precious, equally sacred, equally worthy of love. This is Ratnasambhava Buddha of the Ratna family, and his appearance on the third day offers you the wisdom of equanimity, perhaps the most healing and transformative of all the Buddha wisdoms. From the southern direction, a brilliant yellow light begins to shine, warm and golden like the sun at its zenith. But this isn't just physical light. This is the radiance of equanimity, the wisdom that sees the Buddha nature in absolutely everything. Emerging from this golden splendor is Ratnasambhava, his body a luminous yellow, seated on a horse throne that represents the swift movement of generous compassion. In his hand, he holds a precious jewel, the wish-fulfilling gem that grants whatever is truly needed for awakening. His consort Mamaki sits beside him, embodying the nurturing aspect of enlightened femininity. They're surrounded by the bodhisattvas Ratnapani and Akasagarbha, and the female bodhisattvas Gita and Nirti, creating a mandala of perfect generosity and abundance. But here's what makes Ratnasambhava's wisdom so profound. Equanimity doesn't mean indifferent. It means seeing the inherent worth and Buddha nature in everything, regardless of surface appearances. A criminal and a saint, a moment of joy and a moment of pain, success and failure, all are equally expressions of the one consciousness. Think about the parts of yourself you've rejected, the experiences you've labeled as bad, the people you've judged as unworthy. Ratnasambhava's wisdom reveals that even these carry the seed of awakening. Even your deepest wounds, your greatest failures, your most shameful moments, all of these are equally sacred expressions of consciousness exploring itself. The Bardo declares, "O child of noble family, this yellow light of the wisdom of equanimity is your own consciousness appearing as light. It is the wisdom that sees the equality of all phenomena. Do not be afraid of it. Recognize it as your own awareness and merge with it." Can you imagine the healing that would occur if you could truly see yourself in all existence through Ratnasambhava's eyes? Every judgment would dissolve. Every sense of unworthiness would evaporate. You would see that you have always been perfect, whole, and sacred, not despite your flaws, but including them. Yet most souls, when faced with this overwhelming acceptance and love, retreat in disbelief. This can't be for me, they think. I'm not worthy of such unconditional love. So they turn away from the brilliant yellow light and are drawn instead to the dim blue light that leads to the human realm, a realm of struggle and seeking, but also of familiar limitation. The very love and acceptance they've been seeking their entire lives is offered freely, completely, without conditions, and they reject it because they can't believe they deserve it. But the cosmic compassion doesn't give up. The dance of liberation continues, and on the fourth day, you encounter a wisdom that might be the most personally transformative of all. Because on day 4, you meet the Buddha who embodies discriminating awareness, the wisdom that can see the unique beauty and purpose in every single moment of existence. What if there was a way to see every person, every situation, every moment of your life with such clarity that you could perceive its unique beauty, its specific purpose, its individual contribution to the grand tapestry of existence? This is the gift of Amitabha Buddha of the Padma family, whose appearance on the 4th day offers the wisdom of discriminating awareness, the ability to see the distinct and precious nature of each phenomenon while never losing sight of their underlying unity. From the western direction, a brilliant red light begins to blaze, intense and passionate, like the fire of pure love. This isn't the gentle warmth of affection. This is the fierce radiance of discriminating wisdom that can see through all appearances to the heart of truth. Emerging from this crimson glory is Amitabha, his body a luminous red, seated on a peacock throne that represents the transformation of poison into medicine, ignorance into wisdom. In his hands, he holds a lotus flower, the symbol of purity that blooms from the mud of samsara. His consort Pandaravasini sits beside him, embodying the discriminating aspect of enlightened consciousness. They're accompanied by the bodhisattvas Avalokiteshvara and Manjushri, and the female bodhisattvas Gita and Aloka, creating a mandala of perfect discernment and compassion. Discriminating awareness is perhaps the most practical of all the Buddha wisdoms. It's the ability to see clearly without being judgmental, to discern without being divisive, to recognize differences without creating separation. In your daily life, this wisdom shows up as the ability to see each person's unique gifts, each situation's specific lessons, each challenge's particular medicine. It's the wisdom that can look at a difficult person and see exactly what they're teaching you, or face a painful situation and recognize precisely how it's serving your growth. But here's what makes Amitabha's wisdom so profound. It never loses sight of the underlying unity. Yes, every snowflake is unique, but they're all made of the same water. Yes, every person has their individual journey, but we're all expressions of the same consciousness. The text proclaims, "O child of noble family, this red light of discriminating awareness is your own consciousness, appearing as light." It is the wisdom that sees the unique nature of all phenomena while recognizing their essential emptiness. Merge with it fearlessly. Imagine living with this wisdom activated in your daily life. You would see the perfect appropriateness of every experience. You would recognize the unique gift in every person you meet. You would understand that even your most challenging relationships are precisely calibrated to help you grow in exactly the way you need. Yet again, most souls find this level of clarity and love overwhelming. The red light seems too intense, too passionate, too revealing of their own capacity for unconditional love. So they retreat from Amitabha's discriminating wisdom and are drawn instead to the dull yellow light that leads to the Preta realm, the realm of hungry ghosts, where beings are trapped in endless craving and never satisfied. Think about this pattern in your own life. How often do you retreat from love when it's offered too freely? How often do you choose familiar suffering over unfamiliar bliss? How often do you reject your own capacity for wisdom because it feels too big, too bright, too much responsibility? But the cosmic dance isn't finished. 4 Buddha families have appeared. 4 opportunities for liberation have been offered. Yet there's one more chance, one final encounter that brings together all the previous wisdoms into a unified whole. On the 5th day, you meet the Buddha who embodies all-accomplishing wisdom, the spontaneous activity of enlightened compassion that can transform any situation, heal any wound, and accomplish any beneficial action without effort or strain. What if I told you that on the 5th day after death, you encounter a Buddha whose very presence demonstrates that enlightened action flows effortlessly, spontaneously, perfectly, like a master musician whose fingers find exactly the right notes without thinking? This is Amoghasiddhi Buddha of the Karma family, and his appearance represents the culmination of the individual Buddha encounter. But more than that, he embodies all-accomplishing wisdom, the spontaneous activity of awakened consciousness. From the northern direction, a brilliant green light begins to shine, vibrant and alive like the first leaves of spring. This is the light of fearless action, of compassion that knows exactly what to do in every situation without hesitation or doubt. Emerging from this emerald brilliance is Amoghasiddhi, his body a luminous green, seated on a Garuda throne that represents the swift flight of enlightened activity. In his hand, he holds the double Vajra, the symbol of action that accomplishes all purposes without obstruction. His consort Samayatara sits beside him, embodying the swift compassion that responds instantly to the needs of all being. They're accompanied by the bodhisattvas Vajrapani and Sarvanivarana Vishkambin, and the female bodhisattvas Ganda and Naivedya, completing the mandala of perfect activity. All-accomplishing wisdom is the most mysterious of the Buddha wisdoms because it operates beyond the realm of planning and effort. It's the wisdom that knows exactly what to say to comfort a grieving friend, exactly how to solve a complex problem, exactly when to act and when to wait, all without mental struggle or deliberation. You've experienced glimpses of this wisdom in your own life, those moments when you said exactly the right thing without thinking, when you were in the perfect place at the perfect time, when solutions appeared effortlessly, when you acted with a grace and skill that surprised even yourself. The Bardo Thodol instructs, "O child of noble family, this green light of all, accomplishing wisdom is your own consciousness appearing as light. It is the wisdom of fearless activity that accomplishes all beneficial purposes. Recognize it as your own awareness and merge with it without hesitation." But once again, most souls find this spontaneous perfection too much to accept. "I'm not capable of such effortless wisdom," they think. So they retreat from the brilliant green light and are drawn to the dim red light that leads to the Asura realm, the realm of jealous gods, where beings are trapped in endless competition and conflict. But here's where the teaching reaches its most spectacular moment. On the 6th day, something unprecedented happened. All 5 Buddha families appear together in a unified mandala of such breathtaking beauty and power that it represents the final, ultimate opportunity for liberation. Picture this. From the center and 4 directions, all 5 brilliant lights begin to shine simultaneously. Blue from the center, white from the east, yellow from the south, red from the west, green from the north. The 5 Buddha families appear together in perfect harmony, creating a mandala of complete enlightenment. Vairocana, with his mirror-like wisdom, Akshobhya, with his unshakable clarity, Ratnasambhava, with his equalizing love, Amitabha, with his discriminating compassion, and Amoghasiddhi, with his effortless activity, all appearing together in a display of such magnificent beauty that it represents the totality of enlightened consciousness. This is it. This is the final chance for liberation through recognition. If you can see this unified mandala as the complete expression of your own enlightened nature, if you can recognize these 5 wisdoms as the natural qualities of your own awareness, you achieve the highest liberation possible. But the texts tell us that most souls, faced with this overwhelming display of their own perfection, retreat in terror. The 5 lights together seem too bright, too intense, too much to bear. So they turn away from their own enlightened nature one final time. And this reveals the deepest teaching of all. We are not afraid of our darkness. We are afraid of our light. We are not afraid of our limitations. We are afraid of our limitless potential. We retreat not from our flaws, but from our perfection. But what happens next? What occurs when consciousness has retreated from all 5 Buddha families? The journey isn't over. It's about to enter an entirely different phase. Now that you understand what awaits every soul in those crucial first 6 days after death, the question becomes, how do you prepare for the most important encounters of your existence? Because here's the truth the Tibetan masters discovered. These encounters with the peaceful Buddhas aren't random spiritual events. They're the natural expression of consciousness freed from physical limitation. And that means you can prepare for them now, while you're alive. The first and most crucial practice is learning to recognize these 5 wisdoms in your daily life. Every moment of clear awareness is Vairocana's mirror-like wisdom. Every time you see a situation without emotional distortion, that's Akshobhya's clarity. Every moment of unconditional acceptance is Ratnasambhava's equanimity. Every instance of seeing someone's unique beauty is Amitabha's discrimination. Every effortless right action is Amoghasiddhi's accomplishing wisdom. Begin each day by contemplating the 5 Buddha families. Visualize the brilliant lights, blue, white, yellow, red, green. See the Buddhas in their magnificent forms. But most importantly, recognize them as aspects of your own consciousness, not external deities to worship. Each Buddha family has its own mantra that attunes your consciousness to its particular wisdom. For Vairocana, Om Vairocana, Om. For Akshobhya, Om Akshobhya Hum. For Ratnasambhava, Om Ratnasambhava Tram. For Amitabha, Om Amitabha Hri. For Amoghasiddhi, Om Amoghasiddhi Ah. Practice dying consciously through meditation. Lie down, close your eyes, and imagine your consciousness separating from your body. Visualize the dissolution process, then the appearance of the clear light, then the emergence of the peaceful Buddhas. Train your mind to remain calm and recognize rather than fearful and reactive. But perhaps most importantly, begin living as if these wisdoms are already active in your life. When you face a difficult situation, ask yourself, how would mirror-like wisdom see this? How would equanimity respond? What would discriminating awareness recognize? How would all-accomplishing wisdom act? Advanced practitioners engage in what's called Bardo yoga, using the transitions of daily life as practice for the bardos of death. Every time you fall asleep, every time you wake up, every major life change becomes an opportunity to practice maintaining awareness through transition. In traditional practice, students visualize their spiritual teacher as the unified mandala of all 5 Buddha families. This isn't idol worship. It's training the mind to see enlightened qualities in living form, preparing for the moment when you'll need to recognize these same qualities as your own nature. Underlying all these practices is the cultivation of compassion. The more you can love unconditionally in life, the less likely you are to retreat in fear when faced with the overwhelming love of the peaceful Buddhas. Study the detailed descriptions in the Bardo Thotal itself. Familiarize yourself with the appearance, colors, symbols, and retinues of each Buddha family. The more familiar these images become, the more likely you are to recognize them when they appear. In traditional Tibetan culture, these teachings are studied and practiced in community. Find others who are interested in these profound teachings. Discuss them, practice together, support each other's understanding. Don't try to master everything at once. Begin with one Buddha family, perhaps the one that most resonates with you. Spend a month contemplating Vairocana's mirror-like wisdom, then move to Akshobhya's clarity, and so on. As you begin to recognize and cultivate these 5 wisdoms in daily life, something remarkable happens. You start to live from your enlightened nature rather than your conditioned patterns. Decisions become clearer, relationships become more harmonious, and life begins to flow with the effortless grace of all-accomplishing wisdom. But the deepest preparation is simply this: begin to see yourself as you truly are, not a limited human struggling toward enlightenment, but enlightened consciousness temporarily playing the role of a human being. The peaceful Buddhas aren't coming to save you. They're coming to remind you of who you've always been. And this brings us to the most profound realization of all. What if everything I've shared with you today isn't just about preparing for death, but about recognizing the enlightened family that's been waiting to welcome you home to yourself right now, at this very moment? Because here's the secret the Tibetan masters discovered. The 42 peaceful Buddhas aren't beings you'll meet someday in the afterlife. They're the enlightened aspects of your own consciousness that are available to you right now. Every moment of clarity, every flash of wisdom, every spontaneous act of compassion, these are the peaceful Buddhas manifesting through your human experience. You are not alone in this universe. You are part of a cosmic family of enlightened consciousness, that spans all time and space. The Buddha families aren't waiting for you to die to welcome you home. They're welcoming you home every moment you choose awareness over unconsciousness, love over fear, wisdom over ignorance. Starting today, begin to see your life as a continuous encounter with the peaceful Buddhas. When you look in the mirror and see clearly without judgment, that's Akshobhya greeting you. When you feel unconditional love for yourself or others, that's Ratnasambhava embracing you. When you act with effortless grace, that's Amoghasiddhi flowing through you. Tonight, before you sleep, spend 5 minutes visualizing the 5 Buddha families. See their brilliant lights, feel their unconditional love, recognize them as aspects of your own enlightened nature. This simple practice will begin to prepare your consciousness for the ultimate encounter while transforming your daily experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, this is just beautiful mythology. Where's the practical value? But consider this. Whether or not you believe in the literal truth of the Bardo teachings, the psychological and spiritual insights are profound. Learning to recognize wisdom, clarity, equanimity, discrimination, and effortless action as your natural qualities will transform your life regardless of your beliefs about the afterlife. I want to hear from you in the comments. Which of the 5 Buddha families resonates most strongly with you right now? Which wisdom do you most need to cultivate in your life? Share your insights because this journey of recognition is meant to be walked together. Understanding the peaceful Buddhas is just the beginning of the Bardo teaching. If consciousness retreats from these opportunities for liberation, the journey continues into encounters with wrathful deities, animal-headed beings, and ultimately the process of rebirth. Each stage offers its own profound teachings about the nature of mind and reality. But for now, let this teaching settle into your consciousness. You are already a member of the Enlightened family. You already possess all 5 Buddha wisdom. You are already perfect, complete, and whole. The peaceful Buddhas aren't coming to give you something you lack. They're coming to remind you of what you've never lost. So here's my invitation to you. Live the next 24 hours as if you're already enlightened, as if the 5 Buddha wisdoms are already active in your consciousness, because they are. The only question is whether you'll recognize them. Drop a comment below with the name of the Buddha family that spoke to you most deeply today. Hit subscribe if you want to continue exploring these profound teachings, and share this video with someone who's ready to meet their own enlightened family. Until then, may you recognize the Buddha families appearing in every moment of your life. May you see the brilliant lights of wisdom shining through every experience. And may you remember that you are not seeking enlightenment. You are enlightenment, temporarily forgetting itself in the beautiful dream of being human. The peaceful Buddhas are waiting. They've always been waiting. The question is, are you ready to come home?